So for a short time, probably the next couple weeks, because I'm in and out of town, Trip on This is going to pause its live shows for a little bit, but I have some pre-recorded shows that we did in preparation for me being gone and not being able to do the live shows for a few weeks lined up, and here's one of them. Check it out. And I will be back with the live shows mid-November because I'll be traveling to parts none of your fucking business. But until then, here's some pre-recorded shows. Here's the first one I got up. Bam.
So many people I want to kill. Maybe I won't, maybe I will. Put my gun up to your head, blow you away. Fucking pigs, legalize. Fucking pigs, legalize.
So this is my friend. You guys have seen him before, Justin Jelt, personal friend of mine. I've known him for about 10 years or so, but a little bit under that. But figured we'd give him a chance to introduce himself since we've done a couple little segments here and there, and he's popped in. But we don't really know the mystery behind Son of Jekt. So what's up, man? How you doing, Jekt?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, just doing the morning routine thing. I went and down to the store and got me my ice cream and my cereal and all that good stuff. So loaded up right.
Wow, you still eat breakfast?
No, well, I kind of eat it all day. So
okay.
My eating schedule, my eating habits are pretty much all breakfast and ice cream.
Ah, nice.
I think so.
So where are you at these days? You're still in Portland area, right?
Yeah. I'm in the far southern outskirts of Portland, just outside the quote unquote city limits. It's got its own little bus system and things like that. And so I'm probably just one step outside of the what's considered the Portland metro area.
Oh, right on, man.
I spend all my leisure time in the Portland area, though.
Okay, cool. What's the Portland scene like up there, man? I heard what's up with the Antifa bullshit and the Occupy and all those fucking fucktards. What's going on with those guys?
That's kind of like an ongoing thing, I guess, since probably I think that I started picking up on most of that around May, and that's when things got really, really intense down there, May, June, somewhere in there. And I haven't actually been down there to see any of it firsthand, but apparently it happens after dark, and people go down there and they do pretty much what you see on TV. As far as I know, anyway. Like I said, I haven't actually been down there to witness it personally, but it gets all the media coverage, and I'm sure that they pick and choose what to show. Whatever is the most exciting parts of it, but. All the businesses down there, for the most part, at least on the ground level, are all the windows are boarded up. All the some of them you can't even go in, like for business hours, But during the day, I've been down there a good many times, and there's still, some places that aren't even gonna bother with it. They don't want to deal with people destroying their property or looting or things like that. There's a Rite Aid right down there that got looted. I tried to buy cigarettes in there and didn't have no more.
Oh, shit, man. Are they a pharmacy? Because that's where I'd be.
I'm pretty sure that got taken too.
Yeah, that's probably the first thing to go is a pharmacy and those cigarettes.
I imagine so, especially the type of folk that go in there, I think that a lot of people definitely use some of this political nonsense as a vehicle for stuff like that. So.
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, man. I saw that too a lot going around. We were up in Seattle, man. Like the Occupy thing up there, they occupied like this fucking park. It was like this little park, and like half the park people were playing baseball and shit, like doing park shit. The other half was like maybe 30 Antifa fucking fairies, like, passing out coffee and pretending like they're growing like this garden and shit. And like, it's like, I mean, it's, and there are cops. The cops kind of are just like at a distance, mainly like not really making sure people don't fuck with them, because there's a lot of people like I would have walked up and just, but the cops are kind of there to protect them. It's funny.
Yeah. It's weird. Cops have such a strange dynamic when it comes down to the what's going on between them and Antifa, them and the whoever else. They seem to not really get involved. Sometimes there'll be like a serious fight or something like that they'll go and break up. But I think that overall, they're really just I don't know, there because they're supposed to be there and seen there or something like that. Because there are only so many fights that they actually get wrapped up in. You know, most of the time they just sort of watch. Because you have to understand the dynamic between the protesters and the counter protesters. It's such a big, like, both sides are absolutely inflamed by each other. You know, and yeah, they're just such a big. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I try not to get too wrapped up in it these days. I get too much else to be annoyed and upset about.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I kind of it's kind of amusing to me. Like, you know, I mean, I have no love for the Antifa guys, but you know, it's at the same time, it's like I don't know. At least what I've seen, it's just silly. It looks like at least over here, it's like groups of like basically people's high school kids and young people, like early 20s, high school kids, you know, and like bandanas, and there's like 10 of them, so they can walk around acting like assholes, you know, and like nobody really wants to fuck them, even though we could, or other people could. But it's kind of like, what are you gonna do? Beat up 10 high school guys? You know, it's like let them fucking throw some rocks at some windows and fucking raw. That's
Well, a lot of it apparently is from college students who have these sort of I guess over the top political professors that have a very extreme far left leaning bias, and they get all charged up from them. There's this documentary thing I saw, and I can't remember what it is for the life of me. Otherwise, I'd have shared it. But it has something to do with a particular brand of subject or schooling that's kind of off the beaten path, and it's essentially teaches outrage politics. You know, it's just like, this is all the stuff that's going on that isn't being shown, and this and that, and this is how pissed off you should be about it. And a lot of these guys turn into zombies, and they follow in kind, and they actually buy into it and eat it up. And it's probably some avenue or channel from something inside of themselves or whatever. But the same types of people gravitate towards it, and they go out there, and then they start, you know, trying to make a stand or this or that. So. No, they're getting their their bias from, you know, people who they believe and trust to know better than them. You know, obviously it's getting passed down and handed down. Nobody's sitting around at home just like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go slap a bandana on today. I'm gonna go downtown. I'm gonna join these or whatever. You know, and there's their own political elements too. You know.
I bet you the day is coming soon, man, where there's going to be like in the next couple of years, there's going to be like Portland Community College class of Black Lives Matter. You know, be like a fucking elected.
No, they incorporate a lot of the more extremist based positions and stuff into mainstream society and mainstream culture now too. I mean, especially if you look at like some of the what do you call it, like Netflix or HBO, the sections on there now, you can click on them and they're full of Black Lives Matter. It's like a Black Lives Matter type section, you know, where you can click on it and it has all of these I guess racial solidarity, you know, with black folks or whoever. They used to have it with the LGBT thing, but now they seem to have gotten tired of that because it's not as relevant. You know, nobody cares about that anymore because people are more interested in the whole George Floyd thing. And that's kind of how you can tell that it's all really based around, I guess, trends. You know, who's the popular outcasted minority in society, protected class today? Who can we get pissed off about today?
Well, I wonder if it's the media, if it's who came first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the media that's creating these people, or are these people doing stuff which creates the media? Yeah, I mean, you know, it could go either way. I don't know, man. But you're right about the LGBT thing, man. Like before this Black Lives Matter stuff, dude, I almost stopped watching Netflix because of it. Because it was like everything was like there's like some like spin-off of like Star Trek, right? But like to be like PC left, they had to like throw in like a transgender Spock that was like a tranny Spock and like seduce a straight guy to be gay. And I'm just like, guys. And then the whole thing became about their fucking love life. And it started off like the first couple episodes was like, oh wow, this is fucking great, like fucking Star Trek, you know. And it's like, wait, it's like transgenders in space and this love affair and how he seduces straight guy away from his wife and how now he loves everybody, love transgenders. I'm just like, God, yeah. I mean, it's just,
I think they should.
It's so.
They
Oh, you
should make their own.
remember American Horror Story? The last
Oh, yeah.
I stopped watching that when they had the one with Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey was gay. They made Anton LaVey gay. It was
Really?
actually Anton LaVey. Like they called him Anton LaVey. He's supposed to be Anton LaVey, and he was gay. I'm just like, really? You guys really got to go there? Like, come on. What is the Satanic Temple behind this? What's going on here?
They should just make their own shit. They should have their own brand. If they wanna do that, they don't need to, change shit that's already there. They need to make their own. They need to make their own cornerstones and their own little milestones and whatever. That's how you blaze a trail. You want to go out there and you want to be something, you want to represent something. Don't piggyback and rip off something else that's not to your liking. Go make your own. You know what I mean? Go make it something that's originally your thing. I just that to me just sounds like you're kind of like a cop out. It's like, what are you really trying to do? You're trying to up gay people? You're trying to piss off straight people? I mean, come on.
Trying to piss off the conservative right Christians, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, how are you going to piss off conservative right Christians? One, be the anti-Christian, Satanist. So number one, right? How to piss off conservative right wing Christians? Gay is another, right? Black, something else, right? I mean, that's basically what you see, right? I mean,
It also funnels down into subcultural, whatever that, strangely enough, is exclusionary, yet somehow at the same time everybody can take part in. If you're not gay, if you're not black, if you're not trans, if you're not any of these things, then what you can do is become Antifa, or you can be somebody who supports and defends such things or such people, causes, this or that. So, but basically you have to denounce being white, or anything about being white is okay, or anything about being straight is okay, because that means that you are taking the position and the identity of the oppressor, which means you might as well be a sympathizer for the, God forbid, the Nazis.
Right. I love that. Nazis, man. There's Nazis everywhere. Nazis. You're a Nazi. Like I'm a Nazi because I'm not gay and black like you. Doesn't mean you're a Nazi. Nazis died in 1945. I am much more worse than them.
It's strange that
much more sinister. Yeah.
Not to mention the Satanist factor. I mean, you sort of kind of rolled it all up.
Man, what got you into what got you into Satanism, man?
Well, I would be lying if I said that it wasn't the age-old cliche of the imagery that you get from heavy metal.
Sure.
That's definitely where it started, and I think that when you're first dabbling in such things, when all of a sudden the black clothes start to come on and your pentagram turns upside down and your I guess your coal chamber turns into Cradle of Filth, or that your Cradle of Filth turns into Mayhem or whatever, and Marilyn Manson and shit. You eventually start to intersect paths with LaVey.
Yeah.
And then you start to realize that you were an idiot and you weren't a reverse Christian, but you still want to be authentic, and somehow it resonates with you when you read through the Satanic Bible and you look at these things and the key elements there, and you're like, no, that actually makes a lot more sense on a realistic day-to-day platform. If I'm living my life, am I living it based around trying and failing at some doctrine such as Christianity, or am I just living day to day with something that's makes a lot more sense, is a lot more practical than what you would find in, say, LaVey's books.
What band specifically? Can you remember, like, was it Deicide or Behemoth or anything?
I think that initially, just because of the darker imagery and being able to say that Satan was a part of that, on some level, at least on an aesthetic level, I would say honestly it'd probably have been Marilyn Manson or Coal Chamber or bands like that. And they don't necessarily talk about Satanism or anything of that nature, but they definitely have the imagery that draws you into, what's the story behind that? What does that look like if I were to read a book without a soundtrack, and you kind of get into the meat of it all, and then of course after that you get into things a lot more blunt. And it would have been stuff like King Diamond, Mayhem, Burzum. Maybe not so much Burzum these days, but, that was part of the story. All the stuff that happened in Norway. I mean, you sort of follow it down the line, and eventually in my case, paths intersected with sin.
Right.
And then from there you sort of get it from all angles. You get it stuffed into you from every side, and that's where you start to discover the ONA, and you start to discover the Temple of Set, and you start to discover all these things that are beyond LaVey's version of it all. And yeah, you kind of get the ability to pick and choose what's right for you, or something, fit the bill more than say what LaVey did. And I don't think anybody just doesn't start with LaVey somehow. There's some type of a stepping stone into the left-hand path. Some people don't go beyond that. Some people do. Some people go into like actual, true blue theological and metaphysical type worshiping, or being led by, certain beings that you can't see, dark gods, if you will. We're talking about the ONA set, just all down the line. I can tell you where I came out now. Right now, I'm sort of at a standstill with it all. I wouldn't say that I'm not a Satanist, but I wouldn't say that I am either. I think that if I'm being completely honest with myself, I do acknowledge that there's a spiritual element, but I would be a fool to tell you I knew what it was, and I would be a fool to tell you that I didn't regard it as something from some of the more satanic elements, I guess, that I've explored, just to be able to say that, hey, something of influence, I don't know, call it the law of attraction, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm still not convinced that it's, a reward and punishment based guy in the sky sort of a thing either.
Right on, man. Right on. Yeah, man. I remember when I'm 44. I think I'm, I don't know, a little bit older than you, but I remember when the whole Marilyn Manson thing came on. I was already like probably my late. That's probably like 21, 22 when Marilyn really broke on the scene. And I remember like so I was already I've been studying Satanism since I was like 14 or something, but so I was pretty well read and stuff at that point. I remember like watching Marilyn Manson come up, and I was like, holy shit, because there's like I had never seen so many fucking goths and like pentagrams and shit. This like crowd around, like so like when his record like Antichrist Superstar came out, I was actually working at a place called Tower Records. They don't no longer exist, but down there now in Phoenix. And dude, it was like we had like the grand opening, dude, and there was like fucking like 1,000 Marilyn Manson lights. It was stupid. Like they couldn't even fit in the store. I was like, oh, this is like epic and satanic history, dude. Like never before. I don't care. You talk about King Diamond. The King Diamond might have had 10 people show up at the record store, Man, I had 1,000, man. I was like, fuck. The only band that I've seen that has done that since Marilyn Manson is Ghost. And it's like even Marilyn Manson's like, fuck Ghost. It's like, so it's like it comes in waves, right? The Ghost would be the next generation. It's cool, man. I mean, it's
Ghost kind of came and went though, didn't he? Like, I mean, I haven't heard anything about Ghost lately.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'm a fan, but I don't really follow them religiously. I mean, I know they're coming out with an album supposed to be at the beginning of next year. I know they're preparing for a tour for that album. I don't really know a whole lot about them. I mean, but I've seen them. I see them every time they come to San Diego or LA. If they miss San Diego, I'll drive up to LA. It's only about 2 hours.
I was really happy to see what Vital Remains had going on, man, because that was, to me, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were definitely the epitome of devil worship type Satanism.
Devil Remains? Vital Remains? Okay.
Well, I mean, as far as their music was concerned, I mean, the band members themselves, maybe not, but the music definitely, had the blood of Christ on our hands, kind of deep-centered feel to it. Yeah. And so, but it was fun, man. It is amazing. Anything that looked even remotely like the Satanic Panic was just had the best aesthetic to all of it, because they added the flavor back into it, they gave it that edge again. And as long as you can acknowledge that, that whole thing was just a bunch of retards in the 80s, they really didn't know what they were talking about in the mass hysteria of the Satanic Panic or whatever. As long as you can remember that was mostly just a bunch of silliness, except for the people who really wanted to do that. They were just like, wait, the satanic cults, we could do that. I'm sure there was one or two of those too. But, it's still, has that sort of extremist thing that I think a lot of people who initially find Satanism are looking for and won't find if they're looking at LaVey. So they said, they still have, bands like Vital Remains, that sort of display that type of imagery, and there are bands like, especially Deicide, particularly Deicide, who, in a way, Vital Remains is kind of a spinoff of Deicide when you think about it. They had the same singer for an album, and it was the one album that was really hit home for, I think, most people who were into Vital Remains, and that was Dechristianize, and that was Glenn Benton on vocals through that entire album.
Oh man, yeah, you know me, man. I'm not a big death metal fan. I mean, just kind of, I know like the very basic, like keynotes, but that's about it, man. That's cool. I mean, yeah, for me, I mean, this stand-up panic was huge, dude. Like, because I was 13 or 14, so I was at the right prime age when, in the late 80s, early 90s, right, just getting into high school, perfect age to get exposed to that, and like, to me, man, it was fascinating because it was like, I wasn't morbidly fascinated, but it was like, wait a minute, like, there's no way, because I didn't know anything about Satanism. I knew what everybody else knew. Like, allegedly, they're like bad people that kill animals and like do weird rituals and shit. That's all I knew, right? I mean, I was raised Catholic, but I wasn't practicing. But it was like when I saw that shit all over talk shows, all over tabloids, all over this and that, I'm just like, no fucking way is this fucking true. Like, and I was like, I gotta check this shit out, man, because there ain't no fucking way. This just sounds too good to be true. Like, so it backfired, man. About maybe 2% of us like actually like attracted to it, right? And those are the ones that ran over there. The rest repelled, but
yeah. And you had your talk shows and stuff, that used to be a lot more popular than they are now. But you had, Michael Aquino on them, and I think that Nicholas Schreck was on a few.
Yeah.
And they had the Geraldo one. They had, just side note entirely, but I had like Gigi Allen on it, on Geraldo, and on Jerry Springer and stuff. I mean, back in that era, I mean, there was a lot of just real garbage TV shows that were promoting a lot of this stuff, by proxy.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you got Nicholas and Zena LeVay and Michael, and everybody just on these Jerry Springer type TV shows or whatever, just talking about how, no, you're wrong. And, what's the other one? What's the evangelist guy?
Bob Larson.
Yeah. Him.
He always had Satanists on there, man. He is like his favorite thing at that time. He was selling his Satanist books and shit, and selling fucking crosses, and he was selling shit left and right. Everybody's friend, man. He got all the LeVays, Boyd Rice, everybody attached to the Church of Satan was on that show.
We got James Mason too, who wasn't even a Satanist. He was basically a National Socialist accelerationist, otherwise known as a terrorist. And the episode was like Nazi Satanism, which somehow correlated to Boyd Rice's appearance on there.
Nice.
Yeah. Boyd Rice and Bob Larson, I guess, had a few go-arounds too.
Oh yeah, but I think Boyd Rice told Bob Larson, he said he was in a room with his boy. I'm pretty sure it was Boyd, Nicholas Schreck, and Bob Larson. I know it was Boyd and somebody else and Bob Larson, and they talked about Satanism and something, and Boyd said, Bob, you're the most satanic one in this room. And Bob's like, why do you say that? He's like, because you've like fooled all these millions of people into giving you money.
I think I saw that too. Yeah. Well, not to mention, I mean, he's advertising everybody and making it all look extreme and real hardcore and stuff. There are a lot of people that gravitate to that sort of thing, and they're probably the people that he's talking about being so evil and stuff, or people that get kicks off of that sort of thing.
Well, it's just it, man. A lot of people, Boyd Rice and Nicholas Schreck, are kind of like, in the satanic community. Those are kind of well-known names now, and it probably was because of those talk shows and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, those guys might have had some literature, might have had some art, but they were but now they're like, they're well-known names in the satanic community. And it's like, yeah. So Bob Larson, he promoted Satanism big time.
Oh yeah.
Like, because those Satanists would have never gotten on TV. You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if he thinks that's still like. Does Bob Larson even do shows anymore, or do you think he stopped because of that? I bet he did.
He went on to do some shit, man. He did like the Real Exorcist, which was a TV show for like 2 or 3 seasons. It was him, and then he had his daughters do it, and they're like exorcising people and shit. And a friend of mine, a guy named Daryl Modell, called The Paranormal Preacher. He's like, Bob Larson's like he hates Bob Larson because he wants to be Bob Larson. But so kind of like, an enemy of my friend of my enemy of my friend is a friend, whatever, that's saying. Like
Yeah.
that guy and I had nothing whatsoever. Paranormal preacher. He wants to be Bob Larson, but he would always call on me. I did my first interview with that guy, like in 2009, only because he will do an interview with a Satanist if the Satanist talks shit about Bob Larson. That's like, so all right. But yeah, he was on there like busted them, and oh man, Bob Larson tries, man. I think he's retired, man. I think he has some tax problems too. Like, yeah, but yeah, all those guys. Yeah.
I imagine
He's
so.
old, man. Bob Larson's got to be like, fuck, man. He's got to be like 70 now, man. He ain't spring chicken no more, man. You know,
No,
he was old in the 80s, man.
Back then, he was still, middle aged and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
All his hair was gray. He was. Yeah.
His daughters are hot. All of them.
Really?
All three of them hot. Yeah.
That's unfortunate for him, man.
Oh man, I know, right? Oh, man, he did well there. He did well there.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder what his wife looked like.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I've never seen his wife. She's got to be good looking, right?
Yeah.
Bob ain't nothing special, but all those chicks are hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
shit, man. So what's what do you see the correlation, man, with Satanism and drugs? Because there's this weird dichotomy where there's Satanists that are like say more like traditional Church of Satan Satanists that are like drugs are bad, okay? Because Satan didn't do drugs. No, LaVey didn't do drugs. So it's like actually probably he did, but whatever. No, he didn't. It's stratification tool drugs, but then there's a counter argument where, hey, this is indulgence. I'm responsible for my own actions. If I want to choose my life and have drugs because it makes me happy, or I like to indulge in them. Indulgence of absence is the first satanic statement. So it's like, how do you spin this? So it's two sides, and I see a lot of people who just pick Satanism and like. Not because of the drugs, but it just so happens a lot of people do drugs is that, it's because like, oh, well, I can do whatever I want because I'm a Satanist. I got no responsibility, no care in the world. Do whatever the fuck I want because I'm my own God. I'm a Satanist. And I want to stick fucking needles in my neck. Oh, hey, whatever. I'm okay with that. Like, as long as you don't hurt anybody, except for yourself. But what do you think about it? Do you think there's any connection or do you think it's just all chance and coincidental about the drug use?
I think that there's a couple angles to look at that from, and I think first and foremost, one of the big things is just the hedonist approach. The searching and pursuing happiness, kicks, whatever. And I think that Satanism on some level does allow for that, and I think that. I don't think that people choose Satanism for that reason, but I do think that Satanism doesn't give them the guilt that other, I suppose, philosophies or religions might. And I don't think that it would be fair to say that all Satanists are drug users, but I do think that it would be fair to say that the portion who are probably a lot more comfortable in doing such a thing than, say, somebody who believes in something that suggests that that's wrong. However, on the Church of Satan side of things, as far as, the anti-drug is concerned, I can understand that to the point where they talk about having a clear head or a non-distorted mind in order to or an unpoisoned mind in order to be able to live up to your full potential, such as the Ubermensch idea or whatever. And that, doing things beyond that, things of the flesh, things of, whatever sort of pursuits that I guess people would pursue to find some sort of happiness or kicks or just momentary whatever. Decisions like that would be made, by the human being in its natural state, in its animalistic, non-poisoned, non-distorted state. I can wrap my head around that too. I personally, I don't agree with the Church of Satan because of the fact that I don't believe that they should be in a position where they're able to make that type of decision for other people when it comes down to defining and determining who is or isn't a quote-unquote real Satanist, because a real Satanist is somebody that's not going to listen to that type of bullshit. They're going to have the backbone of their own. They're going to have the mentality of their own. They're going to choose the things that they choose with grown-ups. We're adults. We know what happens if we do certain things, and we know what risks we're taking when we do certain things. And therein lies our own sign off on what we choose to be responsible for. And because of that, I think that in and of itself is sort of defines one as a Satanist, you know? It's sort of knowing that if you stick your hand in the fire that it's going to burn, and you stuck your hand in the fire anyway, you know? Or whatever. You know, more so than not, I believe that people should make the decisions that they want to make, that they want the desired outcome. If they're pursuing that desired outcome and are willing to take those risks, then I believe that is up to the individual more than anything. I don't believe in spreading this morality or lack thereof to other people in order to influence their decision to do such a thing. You know, I just don't. I think that that's wrong. I think that that goes into some of the precepts in Satanism, talking about imposing your will on somebody else. I think that it delves right into the approach that a lot of Christianity influences take when they talk about, you know, people going to hell or whatever in order to scare them into doing something that they believe is concurrent or parallel with their own particular positions. It just takes away one's ability to choose for themselves, I think, when you start preaching this or save you from yourself sort of bullshit.
Right on, man. Well said. Well said.
Some of us are clean and we live healthy lifestyles. Yeah, me too. Some of us are rock stars in our own heads. Don't really have a penny to our names. Like to blare loud music and drink 40s, you know, and that's great too. You know, do what you got to do. You know, embolden and empower the soul and the spirit inside of you, and whatever satisfies that should not be the decision of somebody else. We know how life works, and we choose to do it this way or that way. And at the end of the day, that's what we'll do. And other people might not be able to agree with us, but they should be in a position to where if they know us, then they should count on us to be us. And beyond that, they can decide whether or not to associate themselves with us. And, you know, beyond that, I close the book.
You know, Justin, if you die before me, and I had the option, not that I would, but if somebody asks me to do your eulogy, if you're actually buried, I will say, none of you motherfuckers be sad. Man lived his life the way he wanted to live. Sorry you're sad, but he made his decisions and he went out with a smile on his face. I'll guarantee you that.
That's the hope.
Then your family will beat the shit out of me, probably. Whatever.
But you know, hey, I mean, it's
that's all right. Everybody who tells the truth gets beat up once in a while.
Oh man, it ain't that the truth? Fuck.
All right, brother, man. We'll wrap this up, man. But is there anything else you wanted to say? You know, we'll have you on again, man. But yeah, you know, yeah.
Well, you know, I'm glad I got the opportunity to at least, you know, talk about myself to a degree that reflects my interpersonal thoughts about things. I don't necessarily live by them all, but who does? You know, at the end of the day, we're all just sort of, you know, floating through life, you know, and getting where it comes to us. Whatever happens on our own path, you know, sometimes it happens on accident, sometimes we discover things, and sometimes we do it to ourselves. So it's about all I got, man. I appreciate you letting me come on here.
No, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, and you know, you're always welcome. We're gonna get together and have some episodes on some topics that we've discussed before, but we'll let that be a surprise later on. Yeah, I'll hit you up, man, after I wrap this up, man.
Cool, brother. Right. I appreciate you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Man. Later, man.
I was walking down, and this hippie guy comes up to me, and I don't remember his name, but he was high as fuck. He's like, "You want a fucking trip tonight, man?" He's like, "Open your mouth." And stupidly, I did, and he had an eyedropper, and he squirted a bunch of fucking acid in my mouth. Like, I could feel it. dude, what the fuck? He's like, oh man, you're gonna be high. That was like 20 or 30 years.
Samantha?
Which one? I know a few of them.
She came over with some GHB one time.
Oh, in Portland? No, I don't remember. Not Delilah. Not Delilah. Not her.
No, Samantha.
And then there's that. God, that one I liked a lot.
You're thinking of Michaela.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but no, not her.
Okay.
This chick had shown up one time when you were sleeping, and woke you up. We woke you up because she had some GHB, and then we watched Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke.
What was I doing?
Huh?
What was I doing?
You took them too, and I think that you eventually just went back to sleep. Yeah.
Cool. So I guess we'll go with this.
The symphony and